Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. I'm pretty sure it's Thursday. Today, we're going to be walking through the very simple Facebook ad system that Ben has used to generate over $20,000 in new patient revenue in under 8 weeks. Ben, he's the owner of Pro Kinetics Physical Therapy and Performance. It's a cash-based practice. Ben, thank you so much for being here, man. Thanks for
Sure, for sure. Happy to help. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So can you tell everyone just a little bit about your practice, where it's located, kind of what the patient population looks like, that sort of thing?
For sure. So we're located in the Bay Area, Oakland, California. We're approaching our 2-year anniversary in November, so coming up here pretty quick. Our patient population is really just active adults and athletes in the Bay Area that are really not having too much pain throughout everyday life, but they're mainly having pain with like running, having pain with squats, deadlifts, CrossFit athletes, people that like hiking's huge around this area. So people that are having pain with hiking, that's where we really specialize in working with and getting them back to those activities.
Yeah, nice. I love it. So you're kind of in the heart of a lot of crazy stuff going on right now with COVID, and the fact that you've been able to do all this stuff despite that is incredible. So how many, just to give an idea of kind of the scale, how many patients do you see a month, and how many team members do you have?
Yes. Yeah. So there's, I have 2 other PTs, well, three PTs, including myself. And then we're getting ready to hire on another PT in August here coming up. So 4 PTs, one is full-time, the other one's part-time, and then the other one coming on, we're gonna be ramping him up to full-time. My patient care caseloads ramp down because I want to spend, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I went to school to be a PT, but actually I'm finding that I enjoy the business side of things just as much. So my patient care caseload, I'm only seeing like 5 to 10 patients a week, but my main thing is marketing, sales. What I've heard people say is like, be the rainmaker, get patients actually in the door. That's the hardest part. And so that's kind of what my focus is doing workshops. We're doing mainly virtually right now, but mainly getting patients in the door. We're seeing on a weekly basis, we're averaging about 55 to 60 patients a week. It's been increased. When COVID hit, we lost probably about 50% of our caseload, and that's where we were at. We were originally at 55 to 60 patients before COVID, and then we took a hit, and people got really scared, and we actually had, we lost about 50% of our in-person clients, but we were able to transition the other 50, about half of the other 50% into telehealth. And now we're finally hitting the same numbers that we were pre-COVID and whatnot too. So right around that 55 to 60 patients a week right now.
That's super exciting, man. I'm glad to hear everything's bouncing back. And I think we could do a whole other live just on how you did that transition for that 50% over into telehealth. But we'll save that for another time. So what other marketing strategies? Obviously, you crushed it with Facebook ads, but what other things did you do that kind of contributed to your bounce back?
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of practitioners go wrong, is they just go all in on one single revenue, like one single stream. You've got to be doing like guerrilla marketing. You have to be like asking. One big thing that's been huge for us, especially when we first started out, was asking for Yelp and Google reviews. And again, that helps your SEO so much. So when people in your area are searching physical therapy, you're at the top of the list. So like if you search physical therapy in Oakland on Google, we're top 3 consistently. We're number 1 on Yelp. And so we get a lot of patients through that. So that's a big thing. I get a lot of people into our website, and you have a good website conversions as well. And then we do a lot of workshops. We used to do a lot of workshops in person, but because of everything going on, gyms are closed. So we're not doing in person. However, I had a good relationship with, I don't know, probably close to 10 gyms in the area. And what I did is I reached out to them like, hey, I know it's a tough time for you right now. I want to be able to help. Is there anything that I can do to bring value? And a lot of times they came up with other things. But really what I wanted to do was be able to provide value through workshops. I'm like, hey, this is something I think that would be awesome. I'm happy to do this free of charge and just be able to provide value, because when everything closed down, gyms were, because they couldn't have people come in person, they're looking for ways to increase the value of their membership. And so having a PT come in and talk about, low back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, desk mobility, because everybody's working from home.
Right.
So they had me come in on a weekly, not come in, but go live within their Facebook group. They invited me to their Facebook group, and then I'd go live within that And I'd have access to their Facebook group, so I could do marketing in there. I could be like, hey, tune in, Friday at 8 o'clock a.m. We're gonna be talking about low back pain. And then just going live within that, and then people can find me that way. So we got a lot of people in the door through that. That was one big thing. And then referrals, just doing a good job. People are going to tell their family members about it. So that's another big thing. And then Facebook ads, really, especially during COVID and the shutdown, Facebook ads have been huge for us as well. So it's kind of like a lot of different streams, and then just practitioners around the area too that are referring to us. So it's kind of a mixed bag of everything. So.
And I know this particular live is more focused on the paid advertising components of it, but for all the people that are a part of this group that are looking for more of the organic, non-paid Facebook strategies, Ben just glazed over an incredibly powerful one, which is doing Facebook Lives on other people's pages. Because let's face it, I mean, every business, unless they're living under a rock, has some sort of content strategy on Facebook. Whether they're good at it or not, they're trying. And they're always looking for new ways to get more content out there, to get more reach. So I think that's brilliant that you reached out and took that shot to see if they'd let you do it. That's awesome.
For sure. Yeah. One thing too, I'm going to add on to that just real quick. Please. That was huge for us, because when we first started doing it, we had people attending, but we had people take advantage of it, like the offer right away. However, we didn't have a way to follow up with them and know you just see a number on there. You don't know. You just see like how many people are attending. You don't know who's attending. So what we did is we started using Jotform, or a way to collect we had a liability waiver that they had to sign, and then we collect their email information, and then we tell them like, hey, we're going to send you the exercise that we went over during the workshop, so you don't have to like watch us on replay every time you want to do it. So then we have an email sequencing follow-up, because we collected their information off the liability waiver, and then we provide them with value by giving them the exercises, and then it's a weekly email follow-up. And we got a lot of people on that back end getting opting in for an evaluation. Yeah. So it worked out well.
The waiver is such a good idea, because it's such like a not like low barrier thing. Cause it's like, of course people are going to sign it. They want the information and they don't want you to be liable. It's no brainer. That's a brilliant move.
Yep.
Cool. So let's move into first. Well, I'm gonna call out some of the people around here. Will Butler, man. I haven't seen you in a long time, man. Hope you keep getting injured. Every time I see you back getting content back out there, it's because you hurt yourself somehow, getting mauled by a dog or something. Hope you're doing well and uninjured right now, Will. Bill Rankus, good to see you on here. Jeremy, thanks for joining, guys. So Ben, walk me through what your experience with Facebook ads is. I mean, you obviously had a lot of success. You generated over 20K in 8 short weeks. But what was it like when you first got started? How long ago, and what kind of stuff were you doing?
Yeah, so I think I took one of your guys' courses. I think it was back in January, before all the craziness happened, and the gyms were open. So we were targeting people with low back pain, with squats, and like we're having pain with squats and deadlifting. That's really my niche, and who I really enjoy working with is people with low back pain that are having pain with squatting and deadlifting and like CrossFit and just lifting weights and stuff like that. So we targeted people there. The main thing is we targeted males, which was good and bad. So when we learned from that, we started kind of going a different route. I'll talk about that later on in just a bit. But anyways, we had pretty good results with it. Not nearly as good as the results that we had with runners. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of people that opted in, but then ended up not taking advantage of it, or being good leads, I should say. They weren't the greatest leads.
This group has experienced at one time or another. Yep. If you guys are watching this and you've run a Facebook ad where you got people opt in but you never heard from again, let us know. I bet everyone here has had some experience with that.
Yeah. So I mean, it worked. I mean, we still got our return on investment was still great. It was still good. It just didn't work. When I look back, when I was doing it, it's like, oh, we're getting really good results. But now that I did the running ads, I'm like, okay, those were still good results, but like these running ads were like blowing them out of the water. So the main thing is, if they don't work the first time or work as great as you want them to, you just gotta make critiques, and you got to figure out how to actually talk to your ideal avatar. I think that's where a lot of PTs go wrong, is they don't actually understand their ideal avatar and they don't know how to actually speak to them. And so having guidance with that was huge, and that's something that Jordan did great on. That you did great on with the running one is how to really zone in and speak to them and what you found to be working too. So that was huge for us.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, it's everyone thinks they know who their avatar is and how to speak to them, but it's always. I think Facebook ads is one of the best ways to figure out, like, do you actually know who your client is?
Yep,
Because
exactly.
they would opt in if
Yep.
you did know. So,
Yep.
what was there? I mean, I'm sure you figured you knew your avatar pretty well. Was that something that you realized that you actually needed to work on, or did you kind of get it right away?
Yeah, so I mean, again, I think the results that we got from the low back campaign for deadlifting and squats was good. And so I feel like I knew my avatar, but the other PTs that's another thing too, is at that time I was kind of transitioning my weight out of patient care because I was bringing on new PTs and trying to fill their schedule, and my avatar is not their ideal avatar. And so we really wanted to target the runners, especially once I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But the reason we really went hard after runners during COVID is because guess what? We can't really run low back campaign for squats and deadlifts because nobody's in the gym anymore, right? Are people still having low back pain? Yes, but is it be from deadlifting and squats as much as it was when the gyms were open? No. And so, but we knew a lot of people. We were having a lot of people that were reaching out and finding us online that were having pain with running, and I'm like, this is a crazy uptick in like running injuries. And then like, well, it makes sense. All the gyms are closing. And so guess what people are doing to get stress relief and exercise? They're running more, especially if they don't have a gym at home, right? So we're like, let's double down on that. And one of the PTs that I work with, that works for me, is loves working with runners. So it's a no-brainer. So we just went all in on that.
Yeah, I mean, way to like keep on top of like market trends, because I feel like a lot of people, like, they have a campaign that's working, like worked once, and then they'll just keep it running until it like drops into the ground. But honestly, part of marketing is just there is like a margin of like luck and awareness that has to be there in marketing. So I'm glad that you jumped on that right away, because you're right. Right now, running campaigns are crushing because no one's going to gyms. Everyone's out there
exactly
attempting to run.
exactly.
So
exactly.
What talk us through the campaign that you structured? You decided you wanted to target runners. What was the first steps towards putting together this campaign that you ran?
Yeah, so one thing is just you also have to make sure that there's so much back end stuff. It's not that you just set up the Facebook ad and just let it run. You have to have so many back end stuff. You have to have the right landing page. You have to have the right thank you offer. You have to have text automation. You have to have email follow-ups, stuff like that, and give people incentive to actually take action and call you versus you calling them. Because if you call them, a lot of times that's really it's harder to get them on the schedule. So using the thank you page has been huge, and giving them incentive to like book now. So for example, we have people where on the thank you page, a couple people do it different ways. I know some people will give like, oh, if you call and schedule now within the next 20 minutes, you get $10 off. We do a free running video analysis for the runners. Like, hey, book now and you get a free running analysis. And that's the campaign that we're running right now. So we did in the past, like we had an acupuncturist that we worked really closely with. And so we actually reached out to them like, hey, would you be willing to give like a free acupuncture session? And so we used that as a thank you offer. But we really didn't even have, even though people called and scheduled, they didn't even take advantage of it. Like that was like an afterthought. Like after they did the phone call with us and the onboarding and the strategy call and whatnot,
right?
They didn't even ask about that. I think Colin, the PT that was doing these evals, he's like, yeah, I only had one person ask about the acupuncture session, and we had like, I don't know, 20 people come in or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, so.
That's so cool how you structure this. So just to kind of like reiterate for everyone, so thank you pages are the most underutilized real estate on the internet. And most people just say team member will contact you shortly, check your email, something like that. And most people are going to forget that they even opted in for something before they even get that email. So what Ben did is he created a thank you offer and told them what the next step was, to use the momentum that they created themselves by opting in to get them to carry through and actually take action and take the next step they want them to take. And using an incentive with a potential referral partner, I think that's brilliant, because obviously they feel really good about that because you're referring business to them and therefore are more likely to refer you people in the future. So did they by any chance? Does that acupuncture or have?
So actually, the reason that we're not using, we've switched to doing the running analysis versus the acupuncture is because he is actually moving. He's moving to Oregon. And so guess who got all of his patients?
Nice.
So he's like, hey, I've reached out to other acupuncturists in the area, and they're really not being very proactive about wanting these patients. Like these patients, I like, there's a lot of the patients that he worked with. He's like, a lot of the patients I work with, it would be a great fit for your practice and whatnot. And he always kind of referred us quite a bit of patients in the past, but he's like, nobody's taking advantage of this. He's like, would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, we can hop on a phone call, see if we're a good fit. And he gave us like 7 or 8 new patients. So it also helped with that relationship with that acupuncturist. Like, hey, we're trying to help you out too, And then, so when the time came, it was just luck, because he was leaving, and he's like, hey, we built that trust with him. So that was kind of something that happened.
It's such a magical thing. It's the law of reciprocity. You create an open loop of goodwill. And then when an opportunity came for him to do something back, it came in the form of 7 to 8 new patients.
Yep.
I love that, man.
So you just never know. And then, it's the value. It's not just the value. People get really caught up in just the value of the offer's like $47 to come in. And they get really caught up in that number, but you got to think about the long term. If they sign up in plan of care, that's huge. But guess what? It's a lifelong value of that patient. That patient a lot of times will refer somebody to you. They're going to leave a good review on Yelp or Google, and other people are going to see that review, and it's going to draw more people into your practice that have that same problem, right? So it's not just the money that you make off that person coming in. It's a lifelong value. They might refer 3 patients, and guess what? If they refer 3 patients, a plan of care for us is $2,400. And so if they, send one person, that's another $2,400. And so it's not just that one opt-in, it's a lifelong value of the patient too. And I think that's where some people forget about as well. So.
Right. So before we move into the actual like nitty gritty stuff, you kind of had like a pre-campaign launch checklist that you ran through of all these different materials that you needed to have before you launched the Facebook ads. Could you go through those? I'm going to comment those on this live so everyone
so Jordan, what I can do is I can share my screen with you if that works. And then I can kind of walk people through like how they work. But I mean, the checklist, main thing is you have to we use ClickFunnels landing page. You have to know your avatar. So I'm kind of just splurting things off.
That's all right. I'll put it in order. I know.
But I mean, it's mainly, you have to know that your avatar, you have to develop the right call out. What I mean by that is like, we use like, hey, runners of Oakland, or what your ideal avatar is. I know a lot of people do women's health with this and have great results too. So we do a call out and then a relatability statement. We got to come up with that. So one thing that we used and that worked really well is like, not getting the stress relief from running because of an injury, right? So you tap in kind of the emotional piece. Like people aren't just opting in just to get out of pain. It's like I talked to one of the patients that came in off this, and it was during the onboarding. It was during the onboarding call, and I really got to the point where I was like, okay, what are your goals? She's like, well, I just want to get out of pain. I'm like, okay, that's great. We can do that, but that's like very bare minimum. Like that's the easy part. Like, what are your big goals that you want to get back to? And she's like, oh, well, I'd just like to get back to running, again. And like, well, why is running so important to you? And she's like, well, it's my way to get my stress relief. And I'm like, okay, well, that's awesome. Do you have like, is your, your personal life stressful? Is your work life stressful? Or, what's aiding into that? And she's like, well, my work's kind of stressful right now with everything going on. And then, COVID's stressful. And I'm taking that back to my, my kids and my husband. And it's like, it can affect my relationship with them. Right. So now we went from being able to get them out of pain to being able to improve the relationship with their kids and their husband. Like that's invaluable in my opinion. Right. And so that's a big part is you got to have a good sales process too on the back end. But anyway, sorry, going on a tangent there.
Right.
And then
I want to drive that part home. That's so important. Yeah. So Ben's talking about the actual ad copy, the first 2 lines and that you should have in any ad copy, the call out statement, which calls out the avatar that you're hoping to work with to get them to stop and scroll. And then the second line, which is the relatability statement, where you ask a probing yes or no question that only your avatar would say yes to. And one thing that you highlighted, Ben, that I want to make sure everyone understands is pain is never the reason someone comes to physical therapy. It is just the reason that they tell you. Everyone lives with pain every single day. Like, people don't actually do something about it until it's impacting some internal conflict or creating some external conflict in their lives. So it's either hurting them because they can't get their stress out, or externally it's causing problems at home because they're being sassier than usual. So you got to remember when you're writing these things to go a little bit deeper than whatever the surface level problem is your patients might tell you. So you got your avatar, the right messaging. What was the next part that you needed?
Then we also include like reviews of past runners that have worked with us. So we pull that through our Google and Yelp page. Then we also have our picture. And the big thing with that is you want to blend in. You don't want to be using stock photos. You don't want to be using, again, if you like, think about if you're scrolling through Facebook, you can it's pretty easy usually to pick up on an ad, like based on the photo. Like if it's stock photo, you know, if it's an ad, you want to blend in, right? So we actually don't even, we just use, so for Colin, we use like engagement photos and, you know, photos that just kind of blend in with other things that would be on the page. And they're like, oh, they stop and then they see, oh, hey, Oakland runners. Like, oh, well, I'm a runner. I'm in Oakland, right? So you just got to get them to stop and look. But if it's a stock photo and they consent or smell that's an ad, they're just going to scroll right through it. So you got to get them to be able to stop and look at it. So it's blending in is huge, with the rest of Facebook, not sticking out too much in a bad way, to get them kind of hooked on that call out. So that's that. And then once then you include a link that goes to your landing page, and then it has like, oh, I forgot to mention that, like, we break down, it's not just like a running analysis, right? People have an idea of what a running analysis is, but it makes you, it doesn't really still separate or set you apart from what they can get from other practices too. Like a lot of physical therapy practices around the area do running analysis. Other people do, like trainers do running analysis. So we break it down into like fitness and injury review, 7-step runners mobility and strength assessment, and then the video running analysis, and then doctor's reports of findings. So really breaking it down and doing offer splintering, because they can't get that anywhere else. Like nobody's offering that, and they realize that like, where are you going to get this exact thing? And you're not. So then they want to take advantage of it.
Right.
So.
I love that. That's one of my favorite things ever, because it's the exact same thing. It's just dressed up with a pretty bow on it. You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah, but I mean, it also gives them like a sense of understanding what it actually is. Like the same thing with like PT. People don't know what physical therapy is. Like when I do my like onboarding call with a patient before they're scheduled, I rarely ever mention we're actually doing physical therapy. We focus on their internal motivators and what they're struggling with and what their goals, and reassuring that we can get them back to that. It's not really, they don't really care about the mode, it's the end result. So
yeah, love it, man. Well, thanks for kind of breaking it down, like all these pieces that you need to have. So everyone listening, like Facebook ads is a very small percentage of the work that needs to be done to make Facebook ads actually work. It's like step 1, like 2 of 7 maybe. All right, let's thanks for walking us through your offer, because I think that is the most important part of all of this stuff. If you don't have an offer that people want, they're not going to opt into your ads. It's your ads aren't working. It's probably because your offer just isn't that great. So let's dive into the actual ads and kind of walk us through what that process looked like.
For sure. So landing page is going to represent very similar to what was actually on the Facebook ad. It just gives them an opportunity to actually insert, on the landing page. We have like our screenshot of our reviews, like where we're located. We also got ranked like top 3 physical therapy clinics in Oakland. So I included like a screenshot of that emblem and put that in there too, for authority purposes there.
Are you able to show it to them by chance?
Yeah, here, I'll pull it. Yeah, let's see if I can. Am I able to share my? Yeah, I think you got enable.
There you go. Now you're good.
All right, let's see here. Okay. All right, this should work. So I'm going to kind of walk people through. Let's see here. What the click funnels. All right, let me see here. Hold on. That bar at the top, as you know, kind of gets in the way sometimes.
Let's actually start in the ads manager, then we'll go through the
ads manager. Okay, hold on just a second here. Let me move this out of the way here. Oh, there we go. All right, so this is the ads manager, and then we also, so you guys can see what the actual ad looks like. This is what it will look like on Facebook. All right, so hey, runners of Oakland, not able to run or keep up with your running buddies like you used to. Like this is another one, like where we're trying to tap into like the emotional drivers too, because they're not able to keep up, spend time with their friends as much as they'd like to because of pain or injury. So I'm running this for the one of the PTs. So I'm not running it for myself. What I put is my name is Dr. Nima, and my colleagues and I are doing something special to help runners in Oakland. And then, so yeah, fitness and injury review, total body movement screen, physical performance test, doctor's reports of findings for only $49. And then plus book now and get a free video running analysis. And then they can click here. We talk about like how we typically charge $225 for evaluations and follow-up. We charge for today, it's only $49. And then here's kind of like the reviews that we've gotten in the past. And then we have like him at Oakland Warriors game.
Nice.
So and whatnot, especially because I don't even know about the Warriors fans out here, but they're super passionate, especially in Oakland. It actually sucks they moved to San Francisco, but they're super passionate. So that's I thought this would be a great way to get people to stop and check it out. So this is, we're doing like split, we're doing split testing. Like this isn't the only ad that we're running. We're doing, I think we actually have, we have 9. So it's, we have 3 different photos that we're testing, and then also 3 different other relatability statements. So the relatability statement, it's kind of like this: not able to run or keep up with your running buddies like you used to, or increased stress because of pain or injury, or not. I think another one is like not running like you used to, or something like that. So then once they click on this link or opt in or want to learn more, then it takes them to our landing page here. So so you're going to be, so it's like get your fitness and injury review, total body movement screen, physical performance tests, and doctor reports of finding, keeping it consistent with everything there on what they actually clicked on in the first place to keep it consistent. And then we put like, only 17 vouchers left to, put some scarcity on it. And then this is like picture of like a lot of things that we get a lot, we get comments on a lot. It's like why people choose to work with us is it looks more like a gym rather than a physical therapy practice. So they see, the weights and free weights and barbells and dumbbells and stuff. And then you can see that like reviews here, and then like our location, and then also top 3 physical therapists in Oakland here. So, and then once they opt in, then they go to, here's the thank you page. So gives them that voucher. I think you put a good place, kind of gives them that dopamine release, like, hey, I got my voucher. And then it kind of just reiterates everything that they get. And then like plus schedule appointment now and get a free video running analysis here. And then they're like, well, wait, if you schedule now, you get a free upgrade, and that's the free running video analysis. Nice. And then giving them a couple different ways to schedule. Like we use Calendly, so they can schedule online through our online calendar, and we can block off certain times that we want them to schedule or have available. They can text us, and this is something that once they opt in on that other page, we use Click Send, and that sends them an email like, hey, it's Dr. Nima with ProConnect Physical Therapy and Performance. Saw that you opted in for the running analysis with us. Just calling to learn a bit more, and also answering questions that you might have as well. And before we get you scheduled, shouldn't take more than like 10 minutes or something like that. So they can automate text there, and then they can text that number back, or they can call and speak with us at our business line here. And so if they click here, that all like auto populates, and it just automatically calls there too. So again, that just gets people to actually take action instead of us having to reach out to them.
Yeah, dude, I love it. So what I want everyone to take a moment to realize is there is nothing about what you just showed us that is super difficult or super magical. Everything is incredibly simple, very basic.
Yep.
So if that looks simple to you guys listening to this, let us know. I'd love to know if that everything looks pretty simple and basic and something that you could handle, because this is basically the exact same campaign any professional Facebook agency is going to run for you. And our agency rate is $1,500 a month. And so I highly encourage, people are always surprised by this, that you should learn how to do this stuff yourself and learn what it takes to actually get clients booked, so you're not at the mercy of some agency. So you know what works. And when you do hire someone, it should be to scale what you already know to be working. When you're sick of doing it yourself and you're ready to hand it off, that's when you should hire an agency. So none of the stuff's difficult. You just got to be shown how. So thank Ben for giving us his time to walk us through that stuff. So
For sure.
We got a couple questions, Ben. So Heidi asks, how much should you budget for these types of ads? So how much were you spending?
I think we spent like 450, something like that. It was definitely under 500. The ads are still ongoing. So yeah, it was a pretty good return on investment. So yeah, I mean,
made almost 20 grand. That is
yeah. And like the thing is, we never spent. I think it was like we can't hear. I'm gonna stop screen. Oh, quick! I'm gonna answer that in just a second. I just want to go over the email too. This is a copy of like the email that we send out that we use Active Campaign. It automatically gets sent out again. Gives them that dopamine release by actually giving that voucher in there, and then ask them to call us. But yeah. So the main thing with that is, yeah, you don't have to be spending like $100 a day or anything like that. Like I think most of the time we were spending like $10 a day. Sometimes we bump it up to 15, 20, but I mean, most of the time we just kept it at 10. So, but yeah, I mean, that 20K, that's still evolving because we had a couple, I think we had like 3 or 4 patients that opted in right away for a 10 pack. Like I said earlier, those are like $2,400 opt in. So, we made 10 grand off of just upfront. And then now people are still, those are still patients that are coming in and seeing us right now. So that 20K might actually continue to increase. Will increase as patients continue to come in. We still have patients on the schedule that took advantage of the voucher and they're scheduled, but we haven't tried getting them upfront. We haven't had them come in yet. So that might opt into, even more revenue too. So, but yeah, and so that's kind of it. I mean, you don't have to be spending a whole crazy amount of money, and you're going to know too, like you run them for 7 days. I mean, you know this better than me, but I think if I remember correctly, you guys like try running for 5 to 7 days, you'll know, if they're working or not. So
absolutely,
but yeah, I mean, if you run it for 5 days, $50, you get one person to opt in, it's already paid for, just voucher. And most likely, I mean, it depends on your sales process too. And I think this is where a lot of people sometimes mess up is they don't have a proper way they don't know how to sell properly on the phone, and then also during the initial evaluation too. So, but yeah, I mean, you're going to be able to get your money back if you just have one opt-in in 5 days. So
it's a beautiful thing. So just some real quick guidelines of when a lead comes in, what does your process look like?
Yeah, so when a lead comes in, we get it automated. Again, I have it set up in Active Campaign where we also get automated text and then email to the admin, to my front desk, to myself, our email, notifying that we got a lead, because we want to follow up with that lead as soon as possible. I usually if I see that come in right away, I usually give it like 2 or 3 minutes to see if they actually take advantage and call me first or text me back or schedule before I reach out to them right immediately away. But the sooner you can reach out to them, the better. So what we do is we give them a call. Let's say they don't answer, we leave a voicemail, and then I also send up an email follow-up like, hey, reached out over phone. I wasn't able to reach you, left a voicemail. Is there a time that works best for me to give you a call back? So that's what our follow-up sequence looks like. And then they also get that automated texting too. But if they answer, if we take them through the exact same phone script that we utilize for all of our patients. It's really not much different. It's just really at the beginning where we kind of talk about the running voucher and whatnot. But then we really just dive in. It just goes right back into our normal phone script, like getting back to, when did this happen? How long has it been bothering you for? What's it restricting you from doing? What do you want to get back to? What's your goals? How do you hear about us? Why do you feel like we're a good fit? Stuff like that. And then taking them through, the process. So yeah, it's just a general phone script that we use for all the patients.
Nice. Do you have a few extra minutes? We got a couple questions here from people.
For sure.
So Stacy, thanks for jumping on here. Adina, Heidi, everyone, thanks for being here. Stacy asked, how quickly did you see people responding to the ads when you turned them on?
Well, we ran quite a few different. We did the low back one. We've done the running one. When I first turned on that running one, literally within 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally within
That's why
2
it's
hours we
called
had somebody.
Predictions Next Week Challenge.
Yeah, should be next 2 hours challenge.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, it can be really quick. It can be really quick. I just started a new campaign for runners, and we got somebody. We turned that on yesterday morning, and we had already an opt-in come through. So
That's
it
insane.
doesn't take
Once you
long.
start applying this, especially for workshops too, especially for pelvic health, Stacy, Heidi, I know you're both pelvic health, and so the system absolutely works. So I'd encourage you both to go back and almost take screenshots of the walkthrough that Ben did, and start thinking of, how would you tweak it to fit your audience,
Yeah.
because it works really well. So
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I wish I had. That's one thing I want to expand into is women's health, but we've got all males on the staff, so we can't do women's
a little
health.
bit
But I mean,
harder.
I honestly think that might be even a better niche even than runners with Facebook ads, to be honest. So, but yeah, so I'm
Based
kind of
on the
jealous.
numbers, I can say yes. So,
Yep.
both niches are incredibly good. Those are the top two performing niches that we see right now. So you're definitely you're both in a good spot. So everyone, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have any questions about how to structure these campaigns or how to run this stuff yourself, or if you're just curious to see, would this system work for you, just comment Facebook below, and I'll follow up with you and give you any of the resources you need to figure that out for yourself. At the very least, you'll know if this works for you, and what your next steps can be to get it implemented. So Ben is also an incredibly savvy business owner. He's starting to help other people to find success the way he has. So Ben, if people want to get a hold of you and learn more about what they can do to start their practice, how can they get a hold of you? Did I lose you? Hello?
So you're cutting out, Jordan.
Oh, I am. Hold on. Let me. How about now? Is it a little better? Oh no.
Oh, you're coming back. I got you.
I'm back?
You. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep, you're good. You're good. I think it might be on me on my end. So sorry about that.
Well, I was just gonna say, you're doing all these things to help other practice owners and new grad DPTs to figure out, what the landscape looks like and what's the quickest route to success. So if people want to reach out to you and get a hold of you and learn from you, where can they go to do so?
For sure. Yeah. What I'll do is I can drop my email in the comments, and they can reach out there. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna real quick is talk about that, like new grads. I see on I'm part of the Doctors of Physical Therapy page, and I see every single day people just don't know what to do. A lot of people are saying that they regret becoming physical therapists because they're not treating patients the way that they want to. They're not spending that one-on-one time that it's not physical therapy isn't what they thought it was going to be, and they're coming out with massive amounts of debt, and a lot of it's new grads. And so I did this right out of school. You don't, just because you're a new grad doesn't mean you can't do this. So I'm really passionate about just letting new grads know that this is possible and you don't need to be in debt forever. I mean, humble brag, but I paid off my loans 2 months ago. 130K coming out of school, paid off within 2 years. And the only reason I was able to do that is because of cash-based PT and investing in that. So super passionate about helping other people learn more about cash-based PT and how it works and how it can help you too, and be the physical therapist that you actually signed up to be, and be able to help people the way you want. So but yeah, I'll drop my email, and if you guys just want to shoot me an email, happy to help out if you guys have any questions about how to get started, or marketing techniques and stuff like that. Happy to help.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for your time. You got a couple other people in here that dropped some really good questions specifically about your sales script and trying to talk about cash-based pay. So if you have some time to go through and answer some of those questions, that'd be amazing. But thank you so much for your time, man. And keep us posted on any new things you're doing or new successes that you're having.
Will do, Jordan. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, good deal, brother. Thank you.
Okay.
Later, guys.
All right, thanks, Jordan.